Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. So stay with us for 3 minutes. Listen to these shout outs. Remember, these are all companies I used as an AD. They're all great companies. You should be using them too. So here we go. Here's our shout outs for our great Educational AD Podcast sponsors. We want to say thanks to our great friends at Hometown. Hometown's changing the game for schools and organizations with their suite of solutions that includes digital ticketing, website construction, how about fee-free fundraising, and a whole lot more. Whether you're an athletic director or principal, Hometown makes it easy for you to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. Go to hometown.com for more information. We also want to say thanks to our friends at Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. Your school deserves more attention than you might be able to give it on your own. You can modernize your online and on-campus marketing. You can share all the great work that your school, your athletic department is doing. Gipper provides easy-to-use tools to help you tell your story, engage your audience, and grow your brand. Go to Gipper.com for more information, and don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the different events, or show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. You put one of these units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com to find out more. We also want to thank Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an athletic director, I turned my school into a Huddle school. And the coaches, our student athletes, and our parents just love the platform. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to thank Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school with great success, and so will you. They've got a lot of other great platforms. Make sure you check them out. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. We also want to say thank you to Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every day, but their athletic eligibility and clearance platform alone is a game changer. You got to see it to believe it. Go to homecampus.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to say thanks to Ohio University and their online master's degree in athletic administration. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program, and it was a great experience. And here's the cool thing. While you're earning your master's degree at Ohio, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We'd like to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. You've heard me say before, probably one of the best purchases I ever made. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule that live web demo, and see all of their great products. That's sidelineinteractive.com. And we want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your student athletes, your coaches, especially your parents, you're really missing out. Athletic Surveys is going to create a custom survey that will connect you not just with the squeaky wheel parents, but with the 98% of your stakeholders that actually support your program. And having all of that positive data is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Let them create a survey just for you that lets you take your athletic program from good to great. That's athleticsurveys.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're staying right here in Florida today. And matter of fact, we're staying in Leon County, where I was the athletic director at the McClay School. Our guest today is Alesha Dunlap. Alesha has a very cool background in administration and teaching and coaching, also an entrepreneur. She has her own business. We're going to talk about that and a lot more. but Alesha Dunlap. Welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Well, again, it's you and I were talking. It's always cool to talk about all things Leon County, but let's go and jump into your interview. We always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us your quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up. Take us up through your own high school and college days, and then we'll take a break. But what's the Alesha Dunlap origin story?
I'm actually originally from Chicago, Illinois, born, raised. I've spent most of my life there until we transitioned to my mom and my brothers and I. We transitioned to Las Vegas, and yeah, I know, right? So obviously, we transitioned to Vegas, and Vegas became home again. That's where I went to high school. I spent a little seventh through about eighth grade there doing middle school, and then I came on here to Florida, and I've been in Florida ever since I left and graduated high school. Played softball, played basketball, tried to do track, but it interfered with softball, so I didn't. I ended up not doing track. But I played softball, tennis, and basketball when I was in high school, and then obviously when I was younger, my mom always had us in something, just anything. It wasn't always sports, but it was just something. She just to keep us busy while she's at work. So.
Well, again, I'm always fascinated by the stories that our guests share. Let's jump back to those days in Vegas. I took my team. I was in Oregon at the time, and we took our football team down to UNLV for a football camp. And of course, it's in the summer, and I just remember how brutally, hot it was for you growing up, middle school, high school. Was the heat just a thing, or what are your memories of that?
Oh man, you just get used to it. They used to say, used to tell us these stories. Obviously when I was young, you just take a piece of steak and put it on the ground and you can cook it. That's how hot it was in Vegas, and it was really that hot. But I played travel softball, so over time you just kind of get used to it. Playing in the heat, traveling all the time, you just get used to the heat. And then coming to Florida, you kind of look at which one was better. Neither, because Florida is very, very humid here. So,
Right. Again, they talk about the dry heat and everything.
mhm.
Um, Obviously in Florida, you've been a coach, you've been an AD here in Florida. As they should, the FHSAA and athletic trainers, very conscious of heat advisory and hydration and that. When you were that travel softball player in Nevada and Vegas growing up, was that a thing? Was anybody worried about heat?
No, probably not as much as they were in Florida. From at least from my perspective, being young and playing as a young teen, I don't think they were as much concerned. They always gave us water. They always gave us fruits and stuff like that. But in terms of being concerned about it, I don't think it was really that big of a deal compared to here in Florida, where
Yeah.
it's like really a big deal.
Right. I remember, when I was the AD at Maclay, our football team was pretty good for a small school. And I would, tell our coaches, hey, work them hard, but water them hard. If we have to go in, shells, or if we have to go in, helmets only or something, that's okay. But,
Right.
just make sure you're hydrating them and being smart. Let's go into again, talk about you. Softball, I think I did my share of internet research here. I think softball was your big game. What are some of the I always like to ask this question. Can you think of a time back, let's start with high school first, that maybe it was practice, maybe it was a game, but at the time, it really didn't seem like a big deal. But now, looking back, as a coach, as an AD, as a professional, you can point to that moment in your life and say, hey, that was a big moment for me. Anything stick out for you?
Um, I'm not sure if it was a good or a bad moment, but I had a lot of different moments playing softball. I think my junior senior year, we actually had a soccer coach as my coach, so that was different for we ran a lot. Um, that was probably one of the moments that stuck out for me. Knowing that you didn't have to necessarily be um, seasoned in the sport to get the coaching job, especially coaching now where most coaches are very specialized in their area. Um, in high school, it was just whoever could fill the spot at that time. So you have kids out here just doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and the coaches just, he was good at running, obviously soccer coaching. He was good at managing the team and doing fundraisers, but that picture will always remain in my mind. Like, dude, my coach is a soccer coach. It was very different, especially coming from a school that's pretty decent and playing softball where we were actually winning. To have the reins turned over to kind of anybody, it kind of lets you know that it didn't matter at your experience level. They just needed someone to fill the position, and it goes to show you how bad we do need qualified coaches.
So, but I'm guessing that the coach, had some idea of organization in
Mhm.
soccer, or at least had an assistant. What are your memories
Um,
of that?
Man, he did have an assistant. Like I said, we did a lot of fundraising, so he raised a lot of money. He was good at that. It was organized, but in terms of like drills and knowing what to do, he kind of let the juniors and seniors kind of run some stuff, if that makes sense. Because we were there in the program. We've been in the program
Mhm.
since our freshman year. Some of us played middle school ball, so we had a decent idea, and a lot of us played travel ball because it was really big in Vegas.
Right,
So
right.
I played travel ball as well, so he utilized us a lot to kind of do certain things. Um, but that was really it. It was organized, but it was just kind of a weird experience. But it was a good experience.
Okay. Well, and again, I think that's the bottom line. What was a good experience? I know he said he had knowledge of soccer. Yeah, he was a soccer coach. He had some knowledge of softball, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very small.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very small. I mean, when you're a kid, you really don't even. It's kind of like as long as we played the season, it's kind of where your mind was. I didn't really care about all the is he qualified kind of stuff then. But when you look back on it, you're like, man, he really wasn't qualified. But I mean, we got through the we got through the season, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I guess that's really all that matters. Especially now that I'm an adult, it you kind of look back on it like, man, I would rather have a qualified, credentialed coach who knows what they're doing.
Right. No, but again, in your own words, it was a good season. So,
Yeah.
it's you can take those memories with you. Let's go and take a quick break, but I want to come back. When you come back, I want you to share, your journey through college. You went to college at FAMU, right there in Tallahassee. So let's take that break. When we come back, we're going to have more with our guest, Alesha Dunlap. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Hometown for their support. Hometown is still changing the game for athletic directors, for schools and organizations with their suite of solutions that includes things like, well, big surprise, online ticketing. They're still the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. But how about fee-free fundraising, athletic website construction? You really need to check out their website. Whether you're a principal or an athletic director, Hometown can help you save time, raise more money, and bring your entire community together. Go to hometown.com for more information and don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to thank our good friends at Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team turn you into a social media marketing expert. It's used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and colleges around the country. And whether you're looking for solutions for the school or the athletic department, Gipper's suite of templates and tools allows you to make your organization stand out. You're doing great work and you don't want to let it go unnoticed. Gipper's going to provide you the tools to access thousands of professionally designed templates. Go to Gipper.com for all the information and don't forget to mention the podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Once again, our guest is Alesha Dunlap. Alesha, you took us up through your high school journey. If you could share with our listeners, going to college and then your career journey. We have a lot of younger ADs, newer ADs, even aspiring athletic directors. And I think it's important for them to hear the journey that we all take. So how'd you end up at FAMU right there in Tallahassee?
So I actually was recruited from a recruiting camp out in Utah. And then no, it was Colorado. Actually, I guess they saw me throwing from my knees, and that was kind of like the 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 start to, I guess, wanting to me getting recruited. And then I've had other colleges there obviously recruited me as well. Um, I can't quite remember, but I got a phone call because my coach was helping me create some content, video content. Because back then, you can create it wasn't really big like what kids are doing now with the videographers traveling and following them.
Right.
But we had we did a little session, and I did a video, and I sent it over to FAMU, and I actually got an email and a phone call from Amber. At the time, she was the pitching coach, and she called me over and let me know that they were interested in me, and I was like super excited. And this is my first time. I'm like, oh my god, I was just excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to FAMU. It didn't really make it wasn't like finalized or nothing, but just to have the opportunity that some college coach is actually looking at you and you're doing all that work, it felt really good. But I was at a camp going through some drills before our game, and one of the coaches from Howard came over at the time. I can't think of the man's name, but he did pass away. He came over and he said, "Young lady, what school are you going to?" I said, "I'm going to Florida A&M University." And remind you, I haven't even signed anything. I was just super excited. He's like, "Well, okay," because that was obviously the rival. I didn't know anything about HBCU softball. I'm just a kid, just wanted to play softball. That's really all it was. And that was the moment that I realized that this guy was the head coach of Howard University, a prominent program, at least back then. And from there, I just kind of took off. I ended up going to FAMU, stayed there 4 years. I was a catcher all 4 years, slapper, believe it or not. Um, and it was just a great experience for us. Waking up at 5 in the morning just to go train. Um, that it was a lot. It was, I mean, it was typical in my mind that all college athletes did this kind of stuff. Waking up early in the morning to go train, to go run, to go do strength work, having two practices a day. We have a skill session, then we have a team practice, and then we meet for study hall. All the typical stuff I'm assuming college kids do now. So it was a great 4 years there. I spent at FAMU under legendary coach Veronica Wiggins.
Mhm.
Got an opportunity to help her win 500, her first 500, and then again her 700 victory. So that was pretty special. That was some special moments that we shared. One of the two teams that helped her get over 40 wins in the season and to actually qualify for the regionals. So we won two championships during my time there. A lot of stuff changed. Even me, I share this story with my athletes to let them know that when coaches recruit you, yes, they make promises and stuff like that to you, but at the looking at it back at it now, it's a business. And as young kids coming up in high school, from high school to college, you don't see that aspect. You just are excited about something. You're living your dreams. That's why NIL is really big now. But I actually lost my scholarship and got it back. So it was between two catchers, and that catcher had qualities that I didn't quite develop during those that time while I was there. But coach saw something in me because she used to always meet me in her office and say, "E, I like you, E." And she just shared stories. She always shared the gospel with me. It was kind of weird, but I was like, man, this woman is serious. So, but I actually got my scholarship back because the other catcher at the time, she didn't. She ended up not coming back. So I felt like that was like my blessing in disguise at that moment. It was a lot of things that I tell kids now in high school, like you have to really work on character development, if anything. So that's kind of my 4 years. I stayed in PE. Honestly, I just picked a major. I wasn't really sure about teaching. I always wanted to go into administration. That's actually what I initially went into FAMU to do business administration, so I could go ahead and go on the athletic director route. But somewhere along the lines, I didn't have a couple classes, so I end up uh, enrolling into the health and phys ed track, and I just end up staying on that track. End up going into teaching after I graduated. Still unsure, like, man, I really don't know if I want to be a teacher, but I end up doing it, and here I am now, still teaching.
Well, again, thanks for sharing in depth that playing experience. And on the whole scholarship thing, it's a great lesson for anyone about, hey, you lost the scholarship, but you're still, choosing to stay with the team, and then circumstances work out. Hey, the player doesn't come back, and you know you didn't burn any bridges. You're
Right.
still there. Good for you. Let's go and talk about the teaching journey. You
Oh man.
graduated. What was that? First experience after Florida A&M.
So believe it or not, after I graduated, I actually started doing strength and conditioning. I was in the process of getting my not NASM, NSCA personal training certification over at the family gym at the time with Lim. I think that's his name. But I don't know, kind of just things kind of took a turn. It's kind of quick. The strength and conditioning coach at the time at Florida A&M, Antonio Wallace, pulled me over and asked me to come work for him. And young, you just trying to learn, trying to find your place and your footing. I took him up on the opportunity to work with athletes because I mean, man, who wouldn't want to work with athletes? So he took me under his wings and he started training me in strength and conditioning. Everyone worked with football. I also work with basketball. I actually and work with softball. So in volleyball. So I started getting this experience work doing strength and conditioning. I really didn't understand it. It's still relatively new. Didn't really know at that time that it's something they did in high school around that time. I think this was 2008, 2009. And I came on to and I did that for about a year, about 2.5, 3 years. I did that, believe it or not, while I was in college, working still. I was working at another job as well, also doing that. So that transition ended up pushing me into actually teaching my first 2 years at Jefferson County. And I just taught phys ed, but having that background in health and or having that background in physical education and a little bit of experience under my belt when coaching softball as well, I was treating them kids like I was a drill sergeant in my first 2 years there when I started coaching at Jefferson. And they never seen a coach like me. They never seen a PE teacher like me. I was running every Friday with the kids. It was just it was just a weird experience, but it was a fun experience. I enjoyed it. I had opportunity to build a great program there, coaching softball. We had a lot of success there my first 2 years coaching. Came out on top with coach of the year my second year there. So it was a great memories there. From Jefferson County, I jumped over to because we started having transition in administration. So I left and went over to Madison County. Didn't really coach at Madison County. It was kind of a too long of a ride, and coaching probably would have just made my schedule very long. So I didn't do any coaching. I taught K through eighth grade when I was at Madison County. Left Madison County, got recruited to come over to Leon County, and I spent 2 stints in Leon County before I ended up back in Jefferson County at a charter school. Is They changed it to a charter school, so I ended back where I started, and I loved it. I started doing strength and conditioning again to build the strength and conditioning program there. Started working with more sports teams. I just loved it, every bit of it. And then boom, here it goes again. They closed down because the charter school was only there for 5 years. So after the 5 years, you either got hired back through the district or you had to go somewhere else. So after that 5 years, I transitioned into Gaston County, and Gaston County was amazing for me. They never had a weightlifting program there. So I actually brought a weightlifting program to Gaston County. The first 2 years I did the boys team. And then after that, I started the girls team, and we just kind of took off, won a district championship there with one of our lifters. And I enjoyed every minute at Gaston. It was definitely some challenges, but it was good challenges. I think people look at challenges as something that's not good, but man, it was a great experience there.
Well, again, no, I'm so glad that you talked about all those different stops, public schools, charter schools, et cetera, because for somebody coming right out of college, I think sometimes they can get discouraged that I'm not at my dream job right away, and I'm not an AD right away, and sometimes you have to put in that time and gain those career experiences in the classroom, teaching PE, coaching, and again, you're proof of that. That's part of the journey. Very cool. Let's go and take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our visit with Alesha Dunlap. So stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We'd also like to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the different events, or show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to their website and take a look at their interactive touch screen. That's right, touch screen video consoles. You put one of their units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches, parents. How about sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their great products today. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. But when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and find out how to turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. We used it at our school, tremendous success, and so will you. Our parents loved it, our coaches loved it. It works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out all of their other great fundraisers. But if you're looking for a fundraiser now, you found it, and it's Snap Raise. Also, we want to say thanks to Home Campus. Now, Home Campus is one of those platforms you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results. For me, the athletic clearance and eligibility platform alone was a game changer. And even if your state association uses a different platform for scheduling and results, you can still be a home campus school and use the athletic clearance platform. For more information, just go to homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com. And don't forget to mention the podcast.
Hey Jake, man, we actually use Home Campus, man. I love it. Great program to use, and we actually use Huddle as well, man. It's great for our athletic programs that we have here.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, particularly home campus. I remember when they first came out with the eligibility platform. I say it all the time, but it truly was a game changer. What kind of experience did you and your coaches and even the parents and kids have with home campus?
It makes the process of getting kids their athletic physicals, that process along, just it's more smooth. You can see what they need or maybe what they don't need and what's missing. And then obviously as a coach, you can keep up with deadlines and different meetings that's coming up through Home Campus. So it was very convenient and very good to use for us.
Oh gosh, thanks for sharing. And we don't want to forget about Huddle. Again, I mentioned as a coach, I was already familiar with it, but as an AD, I was kind of concerned if our other coaches in the other sports would like it, and they just loved it. What was your experience, or what was the other coaches' experience at your schools?
So football. We use it to break down film. We use it on game day while we're at the field on the field to look at different plays and scenarios. So it's a real big addition to any sports program, in my personal opinion. Like I don't know why schools wouldn't even have anything of the sort, but Huddle was definitely a game changer for us.
Oh, yeah. Again, thanks so much for sharing that. Hey, for our listeners, our guest today is Alesha Dunlap. She has been a teacher, she's been a coach, an award winning coach, and now she's starting a new chapter. But before we get to that, she is also an entrepreneur, and she's the founder of a program called the Finished Sports Academy. Alesha, can you share with our listeners, what is Finished Sports Academy? How'd you get the idea and what's going on right now?
Finish Sports Academy is a youth sports fitness program that I primarily work with private clientele, and I train them whenever they need training. Um, And I've been doing that for the last 10 years. I love just training various types of climbing, mostly high school right now, some adult clients, but mostly my clientele has been always high school. So it's training, sports performance training, but it's really tailored to the private private sector.
Again, we've seen this pop up in a lot of different areas, not just in strength and conditioning and performance, but baseball and soccer. I'm exaggerating here. Everybody's a personal trainer now. You obviously have the background and experience, having gone through that as an athlete and as a strength and conditioning coach, both collegiately and again in the high school setting. Um, as you work with the individual client, I know you've got probably hundreds of success stories. Can you share with our listeners a couple of those? You don't have to give names or schools or things like that, but talk about how your clients, which again are mostly student athletes, have come out of finished sports academy, and it's been a big part of their success.
Yes, of course, Jake. I had about four athletes I trained in a particular summer. Getting them ready and prepared to go on to play collegiate football actually, so that there was a very big opportunity for me to actually train them during that stint. Got them ready, got them prepared, got them stronger during that period of time during the summer, got them faster, um, and they went on to play collegiate ball. Really not sure where they are now. I did. No. Okay. So I did run into one at Planet Fitness. I think he ended up transferred to another school. So that was a great experience for me. I think that was my first time as well training collegiate athletes because it was mostly high school, getting them ready for college. So to start training collegiate athletes, that was a pretty big deal for me.
I'm going to put you on the spot now. You're a professional. You offer services and you charge a fee, and that's how the world works. Have you ever had a client, and maybe it was a student or maybe it was the student's parent, approach you, say, hey, I want you to train my kid. They're going D1 and all this stuff, and you can see, D1 is not in this person's future. How, assuming that you've had that experience, how do you respond to that parent and the kid?
Um, so obviously I would evaluate them. Obviously, I've evaluated them and realized they're not D1. I still encourage the parent to maybe look into some other schools. I wouldn't knock their dream because right now D1, D2 is like the new D1. You have the NIL going around, so I mean, the kid probably still has a shot. I've actually trained someone like that. He wasn't very quick on his feet. He was a little slow. So I was working a lot trying to get him faster, but there was a kind of a little, I wouldn't say it was an issue, but it was the overtraining at the high school level.
Right.
And then he'll come to me maybe once or twice a week, and I'm trying to implement my program, but it didn't work because he either was tired, so I had to work on recovery, or he was overtrained. So a lot of times you get high school coaches, they just did what they did work. They did whatever they did when they was in school and it worked, but it's a different era of the game where they don't understand, and then you're dealing with all the issues that go on with that high school kid. But he wasn't, I would say D2. He was probably at least D2. So I didn't kill his dream or knock him
Right.
down. I just kind of build him up and encourage his parent to maybe look at alternatives, and not kind of slide in talking about NIL in there and about how, possible D2 options are also still good on the table, and continue to just train and find good quality specialists in this area that he's trying to. He was a O lineman. So yeah, it was a fun time, but I never discouraged because nowadays any kid on any given, what they say, any given Sunday could be a star.
Right. No, and that's a great answer. I would expect nothing less, having spent a little bit of time with you this morning. Yeah, we're not going to crush their dreams, but we're going to approach it with reality and talk about those different options. Very, very, very cool stuff. Um, Here's another question, and I think this probably happens a lot. While I was at McClay, we had a couple of great strength and conditioning coaches. We hired our new one right before I retired, certified, CSCS, just very They were pros, just like you. Um, and yet we would still have kids, student athletes, that some, let's say off campus, independent coach had gotten in their ear, oh, you need to train with me. Um, as a person in that position, how do you balance? You talked about overtraining. We would just tell those kids, hey, if you want to train with them, that's fine, because we did our training through the PE classes. Most of our athletes
Mhm.
enrolled in the PE
Yep.
class. That way they could lift during the day, boys and girls. So they just didn't enroll in the class, and we just said, hey, that's okay, go live someplace else. But how do you balance and not end up you being the person that's overtraining? Does that make sense?
It does. So I think it's good for private sector coaches to maybe reach out to high school. That could go one or two ways. It could go be a positive conversation, or it can be a negative conversation. But from whatever the outcome, I think that is only going to help the client, and you got to look at it from that standpoint. Help us as a client, being a client of mine, make him better, the best version of himself. Because at the end of the day, they're paying you to produce results, so you want to make sure you actually are getting results. And if you could talk with the coach or the strength and conditioning coach, because most programs don't have strength and conditioning coach. So if they have one, they're getting quality training. But if it's the coach doing it, 9 times out of 10, that it may not be quality training. They could just be throwing some stuff up there, Googling some stuff, finding stuff and say, hey, this will work. But that's not how you train high school athletes, especially when they're multi-sport. You have to be delicate with their preparation, and you have to know where they are in their development, because not all of them are elite. Some of them are, and some of them are just not. Like you mentioned, some kids are just not cut out for D1, and that's just, it is what it is. But you still train them anyway, because they could go D2, or maybe JUCO route. Um, you have to reach out and talk to the coach.
Yeah. No, and a lot of times, these private coaches, like yourself, um, they are the school's reaching out to them because they don't have a strength and conditioning coach, and they're not just looking for help for one athlete; they're looking for help for the entire team. So it can
Mm-hmm.
be a benefit both ways. Very cool stuff. Alesha, this has been very cool. Again, we've got the whole Leon County connection going here, but
Yeah.
we're not done yet. We always wrap things up with the athletic director's toolbox. Now, you're not currently an AD, but you're aspiring to fill that position. But you
Correct.
certainly know your way around the world of athletics. So we're going to take our final break. We're going to hear from a couple of sponsors, including Athletic Surveys, who sponsor this particular segment. And when we come back, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new athletic director, a brand new leader on their first job, but I'm only going to let you put 3 items in the toolbox. So let's take that break. And when we come back, we're going to see what Alesha Dunlap puts in her new athletic director toolbox. We want to say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's through the Ohio program, but my assistant athletic director did, along with thousands of others, and it was a great experience. And one of the cool things about the Ohio program, while you're getting your master's degree, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. We also want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. You've heard me say before, it's probably the best purchase I ever made as an athletic director. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule that live web demo today. And we want to say thank you to Athletic Surveys. At my school, we use surveys for everything, for student athletes, for coaches, we even did teachers, but we also did parents. And the feedback that we got was incredibly over the top positive. We still got those squeaky wheel parents, but the survey allowed us to hear their concerns, address them usually, and keep them from turning into something big. But getting back to that positive feedback usually is like 95, 98%. And having that data was incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with that squeaky wheel parent, or maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's athleticsurveys.com. Visit them today and don't forget to mention the podcast. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting today with Alesha Dunlap. She's currently a teacher at Florida High, that's Florida State University School in Tallahassee, but has a tremendous background as a college strength coach, as a high school award-winning softball coach, as a teacher, and as a leader. But right now, I'm going to challenge her to send out a brand new leader, a brand new AD on their very first job, but I'm only going to let her put 3 things in the toolbox. So, Alesha, what 3 items are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
I would say organizational or slash event management, um, communication, and one, I would say having your faith kind of grounded and rooted in something higher than you. Those 3 tools. If I could pick 3, I would probably pick a whole bunch, but I'll stick to 3.
Well, again, those are, well, the first 2 especially are 2 of our most frequently mentioned tools. I love, your third tool. Can you go into just a little bit of detail about each one? What is organization? I know you said event management. What's that mean to you?
So being able to plan, organize, not just your teams, your coaches, but your organization, your structure, leaving like a blueprint for the next person, because you always got to think long term. Um, that's just how I think. I think long term. If I'm not here, how would I want this program to be ran? So having that structure in place for the next person to kind of step in and fill your shoes, I think is very important. Important. That goes back to the organizational aspect. And then your event management, that means you need a team. Having people on your team to help you with events, sponsorships, fundraising. You need a team. You need whatever you want to call them, an event team to help you plan those day-to-day operational things. With being a coach or athletic director, you need people on your team.
Okay. Yeah. Again, just so crucial. Great points. How about communication? How does that work in your toolbox?
Well, that's the first line. If people don't understand what you're saying, you're kind of guessing. I know that's one thing I'm constantly working on, because sometimes I don't ask questions, and so the communication can be that they think this when I'm really saying something different. So you have to always ask for clarification. So I think communication for parents, coaches, ads, your admin, that is probably one of the biggest tools you can have in your toolbox. Constantly developing your communicational skills, like even doing uh, podcasts. Those are tools to help you be a better communicator. Just I think that is so critical for any profession. Just learning how to communicate with people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. If you're going to be a professional, you've got to have that tool. And your third tool, can you elaborate a little bit on that? I just love it.
Well, coaching can be take a toll on you, as well as being an athletic director. I think you mentioned during our break, always having your phone on you. It goes back to communication. Like sometimes you just want to turn it off, so you have to set those boundaries. And I think one of those boundaries is having your time, uh, having your time kind of blocked, where you can have that intimacy with whoever. I mean, I don't know, but having that intimacy with God, like I think that's very important. It kind of keep you grounded, keep you focused, because a lot of things go on in our head, and maybe sometimes we don't bounce it off our. I don't know, having mentorships and stuff like that, but having a connection of people that can help you spiritually is very important. That has helped me throughout my journey, especially when my tank is empty, because as being that we're always running, we're always helping other people, we're always having that servant kind of leadership mindset, we can get empty. And sometimes we think, oh, we still can keep going. And I know I'm a person. I just had surgery, and I still want to keep going, but I have to find that time where I rest and I kind of recharge and get back focused and locked in. And I think having a solid support system of people, of faith-based people, to kind of help you over that is very important.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And thanks for sharing that kind of a personal application of how you use that tool. Well, we should have done this earlier, but so shame on me, but we're going to do it now. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit more about how you run your programs, or if they just want to add you to their network, what's the best way that our listeners can get a hold of Alesha Dunlap?
Well, you can get a hold of me through any social. It's my first and last name. I'm on Instagram as Coach A Dunlap, or the elective coach is what I go by on Instagram. Um, I'm also on TikTok, first last name Coach Alesha Dunlap. I'm also on Twitter. I love Twitter, first and last. Um, what else? Oh man, I think those are the main ones that I'm on. In LinkedIn, you can message me on LinkedIn if you would like more information, and I wouldn't mind sharing my cell phone number or anything like that.
And that's how we connected was on LinkedIn, but I'm going to add
Hmm.
those other handles. Well, Alicia, thanks so much for spending time with us today and sharing with our listeners. All the best moving forward for this year. And we're definitely going to have to stay in touch and follow your career.
Thank you, Jake, for having me. I really appreciate it for reaching out to me. It was very humbling and honored when you reached out, and I kind of was telling you kind of my background. He's like, "No, it's okay," but I really appreciate you, man. Appreciate it a lot.
Oh, well, no, again, thank you for sharing. And for our listeners, we want you to know we appreciate you. And I want to remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast.